what's happening, guys? Got another review for you today. This is the Kotion Pro gaming headset. Specifically, this is the G9000 version. Now, I'm no stranger to headsets, and generally speaking, anything with gaming on it usually is a cheap piece of crap. Now, a lot of companies like Turtle Beach and Mad Catz and even Razer do this, where they just throw gaming headset on their packaging, and it doesn't mean anything. All it really means is you just got a microphone and a stereo headset for the most part. Sometimes they do 7.1 surround sound or 5.1, but for the most part, they're very poorly built. They charge you upwards of $100 because you're buying it from a brand, and that's about it. There's no quality assurance behind it. I've had a lot of these headsets break on me, so I had some low expectations when this company contacted me to review their, quote, gaming headset, but I wanted to give them a fair chance and see just how good it actually might be considering the price. And honestly, this $25 headset has better build quality than some of the $50 and $100 headsets I've bought over the years. It's kind of insulting how headset companies don't have basic features that this one has for $25. So before we talk about audio quality, I'd like to talk about the build quality of this headset, which is really, really nice. Once again, first off, you have some metal construction on the hinges over here, but it's mostly plastic, but it's a good type of plastic. It's not gonna shatter very easily. Then you have a really nice flexibility. They've been doing this on the website. There's no sign of wear or stress at all. Pretty good, honestly, for a $25 headset. There's also some plastic reinforcement on the side, which is to really show off the gamer accents of the headset. Moving on to how the headset sits on my ugly head. Pretty well, actually. You have to be really excessive when you're moving your head around for it to fall off, which is better than I can say for a lot of other headsets. It's surprisingly light, too, although there is a lot of pressure on the ears, and the foam itself is not as soft as I would like, but it does get the job done in that it actually stays on your head. You're noticing here it does have LED backlighting, but you can turn that off by just unplugging the USB. That is the only thing the USB is used for, as my phone goes off. There we go. Professional. Anyway, so you have a combo headphone and microphone jack, and it also comes with, in the box, a splitter cable, which are conveniently labeled microphone and headphone, so you get full compatibility with your phone and your PC if you want to walk around with this thing outside taking calls. Yeah, yeah, I'll be at the business meeting in a second, boss. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of poking fun at the company here, but you're really honestly not going to go outside with this. If you do, and that doesn't bother you, more power to you, but it's a little too... you get what I'm saying. It's a little too out there. But fits nicely on the head. The texture up here, the foam, almost forgot what that's called. The foam feels really nice on the head. It's more hard than soft, but again, it does help that it stays on your head very nicely, so that's a big plus for me for this headset. Alright, so in addition to having a 3-foot long hefty braided cable that actually doesn't weigh too much, which is nice even with this volume control in the middle right here, you have a volume wheel and you have a microphone mute switch. Now what's nice about the volume wheel is that even when I turn this thing up to full blast, despite the fact it doesn't have a marker to see where you are on the volume wheel, which is a little annoying, it didn't distort when I cranked it up, so that's really nice. That's the sign of good headset build quality. A lot of cheap and expensive headsets alike sometimes just distort when you go past 50% volume. Not the case here. I had everything on full blast and I didn't get any distortion whatsoever, so that's just great. One thing I will say though, and this is kind of weird, is there's a bit of a click when I'm moving where the headset is connected. I don't know how long this is going to last in the long run, if that's put on there properly for this particular unit, but I thought I'd just point it out. Alright, so let's talk about the most important part of a headset, the sound. How does it sound? Well, the stereo sound coming out of this thing is actually not too bad. When you're listening to music with a lot of highs, it's pretty good. However, mids and lows, it seems that the headset favors instruments over vocals. So it's not necessarily drowning out vocals with bass, but it is at a point where I can definitely notice the vocals more in other headsets, and in this one I can notice the instruments a lot more. So it's all based on personal preference, but for the most part they don't sound bad. They don't sound distorted, like I said. They're actually decent quality. They're a little bit hollow considering the construction and how they grip around your ears. They're not exactly open back, but they're not closed either. So that's something to bear in mind. But overall, pretty decent sounding headphones. Alright, so let's take this thing over to my computer and start capturing some microphone audio. Alright, so what you're hearing right now is the microphone itself. It's muffled and kind of quiet, but honestly it's not half bad once again considering the price, and it's also maintaining my audio levels pretty well, and it's minimizing my background noise. One thing I did notice when hooking up my headset to my motherboard was an audible hiss through my headset. To get rid of the audible headphone hiss, I just plugged the headset into my front audio panel on my case, and it's actually fine now. There's also another hiss coming from the microphone itself, but it's not as noticeable. You might be able to hear it if I crank up the volume here a bit. Again, not a huge deal, but it is there. Alright, so I'm going to do some headset tests right now. I'm going to start typing, do some clicking, and even turn a fan on. So here we go. Now bear in mind that the headset is located obviously on my head, so some microphones do not have the advantage of being a little bit further away from your keyboard. Oftentimes you're going to be having to put them on a desk so they'll pick up some vibration. And even the mounted ones that kind of go over your head like a boom arm, those things still can pick up more noise from your keyboard because they're going to usually be closer to the keyboard unless you have a very specific setup. Anyway, here's me typing on a Cherry MX Brown keyboard. This is the more quieter keyboard of the Cherry lineup. Some fairly light typing. Alright, let's go a little bit more aggressive here. As loud as I can possibly make it. Alright, let's try clicking. This is using the G502 mouse. Scroll wheel. It's pretty loud on this mouse, I will say. There's your fast scroll. There's your heavy scroll. Alright, let's turn a fan on. So we're going to turn it on low first. This is what I would expect you probably hear if you have a very noisy computer. Turn it up to medium. And high. This fan's pretty loud, it's pretty big, so this is a worst case scenario. So yeah, that's what you can pretty much expect from the noise levels in the background when you're using your mic. So final verdict time, what do I think of the G9000 headset? Well, it's actually really, really nice for the price. The microphone itself is way better than I ever expected. I expected a lot of hissing, I expected a lot of popping, but honestly, this thing is one of the better microphones I've seen out there. It captures my voice perfectly. Now, I'm a loud guy, admittedly, so if you're a lot quieter than me, which is going to be most of the planet, you're going to have a bit of an issue picking yourself up. You're going to be able to fix that in post, but for live Twitch streaming, unless you have some specific programs that boost your microphone volume, you're going to be struggling with that a little bit. But for the most part, this thing's really nice for canceling out audio in the background. So you can actually use these things for travel if you like to do a lot of vlogs and just record with this thing, so long as you don't mind people seeing the headset with all this plastic and gamer accents around your head. It's not too overtly stylized, to put it lightly, but it is, you know, definitely going to stick out like a sore thumb. You can, however, turn the LEDs off, which is nice. So the other thing is the build quality. Now, some reviews on Amazon have said, yeah, this thing's great, but it kind of dies after a few months. Now, I haven't seen too many of those, and the overwhelming majority of reviews are pretty positive on this thing, so I'm not certain if there's a ton of truth to headsets dying a few months after they are purchased, if it's due to heavy use, because so far, aside from this little audio cable issue that I've been having, how it wiggles around, I can feel it moving around in there, the headset quality itself is very, very good for the price. Does make a lot of noise when you do that, though. Yeah. Now, sitting on your head, it is fairly comfortable, like I said, but the foam itself for the ears are a little bit harder than I'd like. But the headband itself, nice and soft. So overall, I'm going to give this thing a thumbs up. Give it a shot if you're saving up in the long run for a very expensive audio headset, but you need something now, something that you can record videos with, because I highly recommend it for that because of the way it drowns out audio. If you have a noisy computer, if you're near a lot of things like windows, fans, whatever, this thing is actually really surprisingly good. One small complaint really quick though, The packaging does kind of suck. The box is nice, but it was only wrapped up in this bubble wrap. Not a lot of padding in there, so that's something they can improve on, probably to save on packing materials so they can cut costs down. But overall, yeah, once again, pretty good headset. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'd like to give a huge shout out to Kotion for sending me this headset to review. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check it out. I'll see you next time. I'm out.